All right, guys, so we are going to begin chapter 16 here, and it's called The List. And after we read this chapter, I would like you to open up your notebook and complete the two questions that I have here for you about this particular chapter. I am going to be looking for the answers to these questions in your note check for this week. So here we go, back to Caitlin and the book Mockingbird by Catherine Erickson. I'm back in I'm back in Devon's room, staring up at Scout carved into the wood, and seeing my special name makes me feel really good. Devon said his favorite part of To Kill a Mockingbird is where Scout talks to the crowd of angry men and makes them go away. All she says is hi and knows their kids from school. Pause. If you have not yet read the book To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee or watched the movie, it is on Netflix, I would highly recommend doing that so you could really see how much of that movie is a part of the theme of this book. Then all the angry men leave, and I don't get it, but Devon says that's exactly what I'm like because I say stuff that's obvious, and people go, oh, and it makes them think. He says that I can solve a lot of problems just by being like Scout, except I haven't found closure, and I wonder if I am more like Scout. Will I be able to find closure? Dad said no about the Scout haircut, and maybe I could dress like Scout. So I suck on my sleeve, and I wonder if I could wear Scout's overalls like Michael. I wonder what Devon would say about Scout's overalls, and after a while I decide to go get my dictionary, even though I've looked up closure 37 times and it still doesn't help. I crawl out of my hidey hole to go to my room, and I see the woodworking books on the floor, and I read them instead. I see new words and that sound cool like dado and kerf and tenon and mortise. I finish the 3 woodworking books, which are pretty short, and the Scout manual. The Boy Scout manual, that is. I look under Devon's comforter that's on the floor to see if there are any other books. There aren't, but there is a piece of spiral notebook paper with Devon's handwriting. It says Eagle Scout Project on the top, and underneath it says Mission Style Chest with 2 shelves and a door. And there's the list. Quarter cut oak, circular saw or table, plane, router, saber saw, drill, bar clamps or pipe clamps, woodworker's glue, sander, wood screws, hinges, tack cloth, wipe on polyurethane, varnish, and protective eyeglasses and ear protection. And at the very bottom it says this: practice teaching woodworking steps to Scout. Once she gets it, set up meeting to teach troop. Pause. Imagine if you were to find a note about you written by the person you love who is no longer around. That's just, it gives me chills just even thinking about it. I stare at the paper. He was going to teach me woodworking. And then I realized he taught me everything that I know. And now I may never get anything ever again because he's not here to teach me. I don't feel good in his room anymore, so I go get my purple fleece and I wrap it around me and I go back into the living room and I get partly under the sofa cushion, but I leave an opening so I can stare out at the chest that Devon was making. Dad sits down on the floor next to me and I can see his work pants and boots. Are you okay? He asked. I stare at his chest. He sighs. His hands drop onto his legs and he sighs again. Listen, Caitlin, it'll be your birthday before long. What do you want to do? Last year, Devon took me to the mall, the Limited too. He said I needed to wear clothes that didn't make me look weird, and he told me what clothes they were, and I didn't like the first 17 tops that he picked. The first one was pink. Pink is the color of medicine, and it feels drippy and sicky. The second one had a tag that itched. The third one felt like a carnivorous dinosaur skin, and I would be eaten alive. The fourth one had a stripe at an angle, and I believed that it was an evil shirt. It's not evil, Devon said. It's evil, it's evil, it's evil, I said, and I screamed until he put his hand over my mouth, and I bit his finger. Hard. And he tried to get his finger out of my mouth, but I wouldn't let him until I saw the tears coming out of his eyes. He crumpled onto the floor, holding his finger tight, and his face was red, and I realized for the very first time then and there that Devon feels pain. And now I wonder if he felt pain on the day our life fell apart. I feel a cold hand on my arm, and I flinch. It's Dad. Caitlin, what do you want to do for your birthday? He asks. I whisper that I want Devon to take me to the mall. And Dad moves his around his head, so he's peeking in at me. What? He says. I want Devin to take me shopping like he did last year. Dad puts his head down so his chin touches his chest, and he says nothing for a while, and then he looks up. He can't. But it's my birthday, and that's what I want. He sighs, and he explains that Devin is no longer with us, and he's in heaven, and my mother and the two of them are looking down on us, and they will always love us. I know that. Why is he explaining it all? Is he reminding himself? And when he finally finishes, I say, well, I still want him to take me. And Dad shakes his head and he stares at the carpet, but his eyes are watery. Maybe he's stuffed animaling, and finally he says he will get dinner started, and this means that the conversation is over. I push my head further under the sofa cushions, but it doesn't swallow me like I want it to. So in this chapter, you see how Caitlin and Devin really had a beautiful and unique relationship. Devin was somebody that really helped explain the world to Caitlin. And so I want you to just take a second in your journal to write about something that maybe can connect you to Caitlin a little bit. Is there somebody in your life who explains things to you well? This could be someone who's considered your go-to person when you need help. And then I want you to think about this. Why, from what we know so far, do you think that Devin was so important in Caitlin's life? List all the reasons why. And I'm going to be looking for these notes when I check your note check this week. Thanks, guys.